Hello and welcome to Critical Tumble, where a bunch of longtime friends and nerdy-ass Tumblr users transcend geography with the power of Discord to play Dungeons and Dragons and critically fumble a lot. We are without an Antheus today because he wasn't feeling very well and decided that he needed a nap, so all best wishes to Antheus for a speedy recovery, and let's just all be grateful that Furseth is the quiet one, so I don't have to Jaeger him too much. Previously, the gang arrived in the free city of Alzor High. What?
Oh,
Ethan?
no, sorry. Odd reflection behind me.
It's just the light coming off the paint job on your
On
yeah,
the door there, yeah.
yes. As they arrived by your ship, which was an experience, uh, to the free city of Alzor High, a little too late to approach the governor, Kreia Bendis, uh, about joining the Brass Arrows so they could go hunt a snake with particularly nasty venom for the creation of their dragon hunter weapon. So they crashed for the night at the Tipsy Pixie, a rather lush little establishment, and Hazel got an early name day present of various sorts.
And an education.
And an education. Very much an education. And also hair care tips. So, one thing you guys will have noticed is that her hair is actually a bit more tame than you'd expect in hot, dry, desertish climates. In any case, they arrived at the homestead, as it were, of the ancient dragon governor lady, and were invited up to her weird combination of sparse but lush throne room, which is mostly pillows and carpets for her guests to recline upon, and on a stand, apparently largely made of fairly large bones, an equally large clawed paw of some kind that was gilded and is currently in use as a throne. Um, Kreia Bendis is a Wonder Woman as she should be drawn, build, moderately dark skin, long black hair worn in two braids, one on either side of the head. And she just lounges on this sharp gold thing like it ain't no thing. And basically just says, come, we sit, we converse. How are you finding the city of Alzorhai?
There's a lot of new experiences here.
As
Yeah,
a, as a,
that's definitely true.
as I understand from most of you, there's a great many new experiences everywhere.
Hmm.
But I do not understand why the off-blonde one is looking for others to speak. As I understand it, you more or less speak for your group.
Oh, well, yeah, I was just giving everyone else a go first. But yeah, no, the city is amazing. It is very lovely. And yeah, new experiences have been had already. So, um,
Yes, I am rather curious now as to the nature of these new experiences.
Oh boy.
I am
Just
very
Remy gets a
encouraged.
raised eyebrow.
Yeah, I am now the same color as Beat, actually closer to the color of that pomegranate we got earlier.
um,
Just been enjoying the local cuisine,
hospitality.
hospitality.
Getting to know the locals.
Yeah, we stayed at the Tipsy Pixie, and
Uh,
some of us.
allow me to guess. Your young cleric friend tried eating out for the first time.
I was thinking it, but I wasn't gonna say it. Remy was not gonna say that.
Darvin's just Bravo. Mind you, the golf clap, all at in character, the whole bit. Bravo. Bravo.
Just one prolonged squeak from me.
Yes, that is a that is definitely a way to put it.
I see. Well, then I am glad that the city and its residents suit you then. I trust you had a reasonable time?
Enthusiastic nodding from Hazel.
Well, this is good. Let it never be said that our hospitality is remiss. Our climes may not be overly hospitable, but I like to think that our people more than make up for the lack.
Yes, very true. Extremely true. Oh, hells yes.
I suppose that now that we have got the worst of this entire conversation out of the way, I might have something a little bit more in the way of introductions.
My apologies. Hazel, Hearth,
Hey.
Remy Crestwin, Nye, and out of character, I've completely blanked on what your last name was supposed to be. Or do you even have one? Because you don't really
Vanimar.
remember. Vanimar? Okay, thank you.
The full name is rather long. Nye will suit.
I
And-
am not leaving this at this.
Nynavar Vanamar. And in case you do not know Elven, it translates to he who laments his lost home.
Excuse me.
I am trying not to assume.
You could ask instead of telling. This is the give and take of conversation. Do you not understand the give and take of conversation? It seems to be
Apparently I
a
do
genuine
not.
question.
Apparently,
We have known people like this. Normally they have spent great amounts of time away from the hustle and bustle of humanity and similar sorts of things. And Froseth sitting in the back gives sort of nod. I can attest to that.
And at that point, I'll turn and introduce Froseth.
Yes, I have heard much, as much of him as there was told. Uh, 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 we have, as I believe you understand, we have not had a silver dragonborn that was not living in Damil in quite some time. So there is much of excitableness from the north. Ugh.
Yeah, and I'm Darwin Taylor. And we are the Cupcake Coterie.
And I
Bit of a long story, that.
Yes, but again, shall I remind you of the conversational give and take? You all seem to have these habits of just stopping, as if to say that it is a long story will not intrigue your correspondent, and then you just leave it and you move to something else. What is it with humans? What is wrong with you? Elves are no better, and the combination of the two, all I get is squeak.
As far as the name, it all winds through the same story. I suppose I could start. I'll start at the beginning, and when I get to the end, I'll stop. The situation that we're dealing with, well, my part in it started a couple of how long has it been actually in actual time since we started?
Out of character, you're nudging the 2-month mark.
God, it's only been 2 months. Jesus,
Yes,
we've been through so much. I'm like,
you get Craig going. Assume that I know the happenings at Stark Coast because there have been songs and there have been stories, and these things do even spread here. We do have quite a high concentration of bards. There is not much to do except tell stories and uh, enjoy exotic cuisines, so to speak.
Glancing at Hazel.
Well, she's glancing at Remy, who was the first one who put it that way.
Oh. He's like, my, that's a ceiling-y ceiling. Yeah, well,
and
there was
and and go to the more, shall we say, uh, detail that does not normally come in the grand epic, because I have a feeling that the name comes from a detail that was lost to the grand epic tale. So weave it in to the bits that you can assume that I know.
understood. There was I'm blanking on the name of the tavern now. From
The piecemeal.
yeah, the piecemeal. That's right. I know it was P something. I need, there was the
It was
piecemeal
because of
tavern.
the furniture. Remember,
Mhm.
all
Right.
the pieces. None of the pieces match because they were all donated from the
Yep.
town. Which you
There
might
was
get a
the-
feeling that Kreia might appreciate details like that.
Mhm.
Just to say.
There was there's the Piecemeal Tavern in Starcoast, so named because everything in there quite literally was nothing matched. It was all donated from various persons and places.
Huh, it
But
sounds like
Francine,
quite the community project. The Barons,
oh yeah,
Barons veer traditions that interest me. I may have to ask a bit more about this from other places later. Anyway, continue.
Francine ran the location, and her husband
Eric.
Eric made these cupcakes that were and still are some of the best, if not the best, I have had, and didn't make them for very often. And he when I arrived, or we arrived, uh, we are not the original, all of us from the beginning. Nye joined us later on, as did Remy. We were traveling with a couple of other people who are no longer with us. One by choice and one not, unfortunately, adventuring. But anyway, Eric made one for each of us, and it was the moment that we kind of all came together as a group right then. Everything just sort of came together and it fit, and so we've been the Cupcake Coterie ever since. Even with everything that happened in Star Coast, Eric Francine was kind enough to give us the recipe, and so we've shared it with a few choice folk since.
Would that have anything to do with a baker in Belarus by any chance?
Yes, it would.
Hial has had information, as he does tend to patrol his borders in a rather subtle kind of way. And he happened to notice that there was a bakery, the name of which is only come up to
Just-
me fairly recently now.
Just Points at Remy.
Is doing some rather exceptional business in the form of wonderfully decorated cupcakes.
Just points right at Remy.
They are pretty good at cupcakes. And they make pretty good cupcakes.
And now they have a recipe that apparently improves their. And they have a story to go with it now.
Remy's parents are particularly wonderful bakers, yes, and they were kind enough to have us at their home when we were in Belarus. I'm just glancing over at Remy to see if Remy wants to add anything to that statement.
No.
I have a sense that the Lady Paladin is a little bit reticent about matters. All matters.
Darwin is the conversationalist. And he literally gets paid for words. So
I get paid
Yes.
for songs. It's a little different. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's quite all right. And not all songs do have words, so you can shut up. I was only going to say that while you do not get paid for words, young lady paladin, I do understand just from seeing this that you are gifted in the art of color commentary, occasional quips from the peanut gallery. I,
Yes,
I, I,
that's
I,
accurate.
I hope to hear more of this. People interest me. Uh, Governor and other various forms I take, you do not get much in the way of interaction, so I seek it out. So,
Hmm.
Baronsvere.
Mhm.
We do not travel there much. They are distinctly unwelcoming, and now I am given to understand why. Uh, you seem to be more on the urban side of Baronsphere as a whole. You are barred, and unless they are here, most bards they seem to gravitate toward the cities, if for no other reason that is where the taverns are, and the taverns are where the ale is, and people drinking ale tend to be a little bit more forgetful of exactly how much they are putting into
Mhm.
the shared. But you, little cleric,
Yes.
seem to be more of the rural variety. So I would like to hear a little bit more about what life is like in the rural areas of Baronsville.
Well, uh, oh boy.
Would you like some? I have been remiss. I have not brought refreshments of any kind. Uh, and just and in comes it's another dragonborn. This one's not bronze. Similar, but not bronze. Guess would probably be brass. Um, Comes in with a fairly large tray. This is a strapping young lady of a dragonborn. Grins a little bit at Froseth and puts down basically a special plate for him, which is predominantly sort of raw meat and fish of various types. And she says, we tend to cater to that for dragons and dragonborn because, well, we can eat things that everyone else does. Our dentition is better suited to this kind of thing. And for the rest of you, it's sort of little flaky baked things. Think baklava, but stuffed with various bits of meat and smoked fish and sort of a cottage cheesy kind of a thing. And the basically what you're looking at is a sort of a combination of Turkish and Greek,
Ooh.
Wow.
and a fairly large flagon of wine and the appropriate number of glasses. Help yourselves. And I just set them down on the carpet. Think of it as picnic. And perhaps it will put the nervous young cleric a little bit more at her ease.
Well,
Hazel,
there's that,
tell me about home.
and I'm generally kind of awful at words.
Consider it practice.
Trying to. Uh, well, out in Goldendale, I'm from Hearthhome specifically.
I have definitely
Where,
heard your surname before, so I have some
yeah,
idea.
That raises an eyebrow.
mom and
Y'all would not tell about his prodigies?
mom and mama are kind of awesome. Adopted me. They adopted pretty much everyone in the family and possibly in the town, given that Jenna followed them there, and so did Lyra, the cleric that taught me a lot of the stuff I know before I got sent to Mount Palor to run in circles.
And how many people are in your family? You say you adopted everybody. They adopted everyone within the family. What is within the family? You're looking at 10 counting Hazel now.
10.
Hmm.
So that's Keth.
Skylar.
He's a half orc. Ramas, half elf like me. Mela, another half elf. Oscar's a dwarf. Zana's a gnome. Donna's also a half orc. Skylar's half elf and she's really tiny and she likes Roseth a lot.
She is the aspiring paladin of Bahamut, is she not?
Mm-hmm.
Do not let me forget. After this, I have a gift.
Prolonged squeak.
We have not had anyone who does not wear scales have any interest in that level of devotion to the Platinum Dragon in quite some time. This is something of a miracle. You keep her safe, or I will eat each and every one of you.
Yes.
And Froseth just says, I've given my word that I want her to be safe, and I will do what it takes to keep her that way. Just in his usual low-key kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Evan Deadeye who and Lissy River on the two that got picked up on Star Coast. And Evan's another gnome, and Lissy's human. Then we found Candor out in the woods. This the little tiefling. He's still not entirely used to the hugs.
And then that's when those of you who have been to Hearthhome are going to realize he has absolutely no the fuck idea that she's not coming back for a while.
And I'm just staring off into the middle distance going, uh-oh.
Another time, Hazel. One of our party stayed in Belarus, Clarity, and
Ah,
she
the
was
young
close,
scholar.
close with Candor. So that's a little bit of a complication that we in the hustle and bustle of everything we hadn't thought of until just right now.
Well, if you like, the next time I speak to Hyal, I can have him pass a message along so that she can write him a letter to say whatever she feels needs saying, because I understand that you have your own very important bits and pieces.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole reason, part of the whole reason we're here is to make certain we have a home to go back to. It's on that level of importance. So yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
And how do you have the room for all these people?
Well, I'm sorry, but Hazel, you forgot Jaloy.
I was getting there.
Juloy is
a pixie.
Yes, I was about to say this is not the name of the usual humanoid, draconic, or similar.
Mm-hmm.
Pixie.
And then Sunshine sort of pipes up, apparently in draconic. Flitty pipes up. There's also Sunshine. Oh, hello. And she speaks up in draconic at that point. I think you were missed out of introductions. I'm Flitty. I keep an eye on them. They take a lot of keeping an eye on. I was basically the early warning system when somebody wanted them poisoned. But they look after me too.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh God, Flitty, I'm so glad you're okay. I am so glad you are okay. That was scary.
We have a very good cleric lady, even though she sometimes isn't very good with words.
Hazel is very wonderful. Yeah, Hazel is very wonderful. I don't know if you'd heard about that particular
Not particularly.
happenstance.
I keep abreast of some of the larger news, a little bit less of the smaller. And unfortunately, depending on exactly who is, you are not names enough for even your tavern brawls to be matters of song.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly it. That wasn't exact. I mean, shoot, I think a brawl would have been more honorable, right, Remy?
Is
That would have been preferable, yes.
Not much would have been less honorable.
what was that what you were aiming for from the expression upon your face? Were you aiming
He
for
tried to
tavern brawl?
schedule a bar fight.
It would have solved the problems. That's
You don't
how
schedule bar fights.
mercenaries settle differences.
You don't
Sometimes.
schedule bar fights.
Well, if you got to
What
schedule anything,
What happened to the town square at dawn?
It's a little
You
bit
can't have
much.
a brawl at dawn.
Technically, you can,
if you don't go to sleep,
or you wake up very early. The reason you cannot have a brawl at dawn is because you do not have the eyesight for it.
this is a good point. Remy, do you want to explain that one?
Jeez.
Not really, apparently.
No, not really.
I mean,
I think we will simply leave it at if I am any judge of human faces, she underestimated the amount that the individual with whom she tried to schedule the bar fight wished her dead.
yeah,
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, an assassin was hired. There was poison involved. Unfortunately, owing to obvious size differences, Flitty took the worst of it. But thanks to Hazel, I'm amazed. I'm still so grateful, Hazel. That was amazing. You definitely rose to the occasion. Flitty came through.
You may wish to visit the Starlit Sky. Is a shop that I think would interest you. As I understand, this sort of thing requires of diamond to cast, and while you are largely likely, at the very least, to trip over things with diamonds in them, if you are looking for more in the way of dust or cuts that you are entirely sure about, they are our local jeweler. And they do cater to sorts of people who are well aware that they're going to dangerous places and they're probably going to have to bring someone back at some point.
And that, my apologies. That was Starlit
The Starlit Sky.
Sky. All right. Thank you very much. Hopefully, we won't need to, but obviously, we're a group. But more than that, and as Hazel said, Mom and Mama did adopt us, and so we are quite literally at this point family. So
It looks at Nai, who's probably looking ever so slightly like, I still haven't met these people. It's just, did they adopted you then?
not yet, not officially.
Let the
Given
man
that-
answer!
I've been locally adopted. It hasn't gotten to the larger group yet.
Well, if they tend to take on that many of the younger ones who are going to have to be at home all of the time, I imagine that their hearts are large enough for, well, any more people who happen to come in. Anyone with a name like Hearth is probably not going to turn anyone away. So what of you, Mr. New Experiences Man? Tell me a little bit about yourself. You have given me very little upon which to ask questions.
Which
Nai.
Oh.
I have asked questions of you.
I have very little to give you. I remember very little. I spent a large amount of time in a sort of imprisonment or exile, a dark void, and I don't really remember anything else about where I was before or what I was before.
Well, then do not
But
speak of where or what you were before. Speak of where and what you are now.
I'm still trying to figure that out. I have friends. Friends are a very good thing, and I've seen enough to know that friends are sometimes necessary, or
Sometimes. You say this in
Thank you, I
front
was
of
about
them?
I was about to say, Sometimes? Oh, you wound me, good sir.
I think forgiveness can happen because I now see exactly why you have less ability to cope with the conversation. It seems that you are very much out of practice with this. So
You
why
mentioned earlier those who have been away from the hustle and bustle. I don't think I was ever in the hustle and bustle.
I think you were in a hustle and bustle because everybody's life has some kind of hustle and bustle. Even monasteries have some kind of hustle and
Mhm.
bustle, and Furseth is just nodding
Right?
in the
Yeah,
background.
I'm just like, right?
So, in which case, so that you are adding to this conversation, speak to me of a memorable moment with this lot. Could be good, could be bad, could be just about anything. And you can shut up, Mr. Bard. You've had your time in the spotlight.
I was just gonna help.
Duh!
Yeep.
And yes, so that is the point at which you remember that you are dealing with something that is
Yep,
probably about 1,000 years old.
exactly.
Are you done?
I'm just not looking. I'm like, all my attention is focused on wine glass. I'm just like,
And then just perfectly pleasantly. Continue.
A memorable moment. Well, the person they spoke of, the young scholar, the time when we knew when she is involved in the overall goals of our group, but she also has her own very personal goals. And the moment that she was torn between those goals, and well, mostly the bard here, but all of us sort of came together and told her that your goals are important to us too, and you need to go off and do your goals, and we'll go off and do the rest of the things.
And why was this memorable for you?
Because it's I don't know who I am, I don't know where I came from, but that was the moment that I knew that I had found uh, somewhere to be, somewhere to belong. Seeing us come together for her says we would come together, we would stick together.
Interesting. Paladin, what of you? Memorable moment with this group. Tell me story.
Hmm. I mean, we've been through a lot, but I think the most memorable was when Footy was in trouble and Hazel, especially, obviously, Darvin and Clarity really stepped up to help her out through the poison, through
Him, Flitties,
bringing her,
mhm.
sorry, him, and bringing him back, to the living. It was of all the people who didn't deserve it, it was definitely him. And I wish it hadn't ended like that, just because I underestimated how low Carter had fallen. But I guess it came out all right thanks to the three of them and Pelor.
It's interesting to hear the paladin of one god praise another. I like it. Young cleric, what view?
Oh boy. There's been a lot of those, honestly.
Off the top of your head.
Uh, Having to say goodbye to Clarity, but for once, not in a permanent way. One way or another, we basically assured each other that we will see each other again as much as possible. and anything we do will, anything I do here, I'll find a way to make it help her. And sort of the same in reverse.
Add a character box. I'll get this one. I'm not gonna do without Antheus. I'll let him say later what he would have said here, just so that you guys have an idea. Because you probably don't realize this in character, but out of character, she's doing this as much for you guys as a unit as she is for her. So I don't want to put words in his mouth there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Bard with the love of the spotlight. What of you?
So much, so much. It's not just one. There's not just one moment for me. Because it all feeds into the tale, and it's all the tale. But we've all lost in some fashion things that were very important to us.
Can you move your hand because it's
Sorry.
the noise is coming from the mic. So.
Sorry. We've all lost things very important to us. I lost well, all except for my father, but I lost the family that I had had previous to this group and previous to Hearthhome. And even through that, even though we've lost some friends, we come together, and it's that, and we just stay focused on family and what we have, and we keep rolling along and picking up people and new contacts and new friends, and it just keeps building and building into this wonderfully epic family. And that for me is, I know it's not a memory, but for me that's what stands out most.
And the sentiment is wonderful. However, I am looking for less a tale than a portrait. Pick a moment.
If I had to pick a single moment, honestly, of recent memory, it would probably be the way that we came together with Remy to deal with the whole Carter with the Carter situation.
Oh.
Honestly, I mean, the after nearly losing Flitty, I'm not one for I've never been a religious person. The gods never really came up when I was growing up. And, they were there, great, but in that moment, Tritherion was with us that night, and
from Froseth in the corner, eventually.
Yeah. Point. Good point.
Yeah, Nye is kind of wincing because he remembers the friendly fire incident. That was pretty much all he contributed to that one.
And the battle axe. Yeah, well, and me knocking him right next to the battle axe that he used to take out. Sorry, Hazel. But it was a moment where we all definitely came together with a singular purpose.
So your moments really are the moments when you bonded. The moment when you bonded to save a comrade. The moments when you bonded to reassure a comrade. The moments when you bade temporary farewell to a comrade. And the moments where you semi-avenged one. Fascinating. You are very much a group, you all are. And I understand that you come to me because you want to take this group elsewhere. I had a feeling that they would have to come to me, which is why I told you to come and see me if you could not get exactly what you were looking for directly in Belarus. Belarus has many wonderful things to recommend it. We do have things shipped in quite often, in point of fact. I am sure that Remy here is understanding that many of her mercenary comrades do tend to, if they are not on the front lines in the southern lands, because Hjal has this bug up his backside about the whole thing, for obvious reasons, but still, you do occasionally make extra coin by watching the transport, because we do occasionally have issues with the wyvern riders and that kind of thing. Uh, I am very glad I did not tell about this, and nobody else did apparently. We mostly keep the sky, our sections of the skies clear, so you do not need to worry unless you are over various different airspaces that most of us avoid by this point. But in any case, the point is that particularly since their steel singer has wandered off apparently to a little home to a little homestead somewhere in the greener ends of Baronsphere. It's nice to have confirmation on that because y'all was going on at me the other day via mirror about how the Still Singer's return was all like kicked hornet's nest because apparently somebody had walked in with the Still Singer weapons. I did not say anything, and y'all did not say anything because apparently we do not want to give too much away. Unlike some people, we do have reputation, being 1,000 years old and all. But now at least I know exactly where they are. You are very, very fortunate that those of us who have lived as long as the 5 Claws of Bahamut, we do understand discretion. If anyone ever finds out what we are from you all, I am going to eat you. In a small bites as I can manage. Okay? Just to underline the point, I should probably point out what this is. Taps the claw throne. Is now thankfully a very, very endangered species. There used to be 2. Now there is 1, thanks to my siblings in arms, as it might be. Have any of you ever heard of a creature called the Tarrasque? Make me either an Arcana or a Nature check.
Probably not.
Depending on what's higher. Hey, Darvin, you never know. Hey, remember the religion check.
Okay, good point. Let's see. Nature or Arcana. Well, they're the same because I don't have anything in either.
1.
Remy is just
Yep.
like, it must.
That one,
Oh
too.
my god!
Aw.
Boy, are you guys lucky that this isn't combat.
We are both very stupid.
22!
And oh my god, it's nigh. It's fucking nigh with a 20 total. Oh my god. Yeah, Darvin's heard stories about. He's fairly sure he's heard that name in stories of unkillable behemoths from some other plane that everybody kind of hopes was only singular, and according to Kreia here, they are now. Nye gets a flash from old campfire tales. Yeah, the Tarrasque is massive, titanic, just biggest thing you could possibly imagine. They make even the ocean hag look dinky. Claws and teeth and nearly impossible to kill. Nobody has ever managed it in the millennia that those stories have been passed on from your people. We can't hear you.
If I remember the old songs, it bounces back magic, it grows back wounds. The only way I've ever heard of it being not even defeated, survived, is when they use magic to deceive it and send it away.
If you wound it hard and fast enough and use enough spells in the right combination, and obviously are very old and very powerful, and also very large in your own right, it is technically possible to kill them. I think Hjal has the skull somewhere. Everybody took a little bit, but I decided I may as well show it off. I did get the killing blow.
I am both in obvious awe and terrified.
Yeah, just jaw drop, just dead silence, but with like a complete air of "Go you!" Like holy shit, you know.
We all have our areas of expertise. Our friend in the mill and our friend in Igraf, they are more for the magics and various different types of knowledge. Uh, our friend just a little bit further north, the gold, he is much more reclusive, but he is more in tune with Bahamut than the rest of us. He is the one who manages the Heavens Ward, and he runs effectively the cleric-hood and paladin-hood of Bahamut. It is where your young friend has been invited to go and visit when she comes of age. Kjol is all about the tactics. I am almost entirely given to the fighting. They will all make your lives incredibly miserable in all manner of ways. I will simply eat you.
There's a certain poetic quality to the simplicity of that.
And well, admittedly, depending on depending on how euphemistic we are becoming at this point, you may or may not enjoy it, depending on my mood at the time.
And Darwin just laughs hard enough to turn color.
And the red is back. And it's probably leaching into my hair at this point, too.
Do you know you turn slightly more auburn when you are embarrassed? It's very cute.
Oh god, I've
Well,
had to
I
set the,
literally-
Supersonic squeak.
yeah, I had to set
What?
the wine glass down because I fell back.
What are you
Laughing.
doing? Ben-
I literally just fell out of my chair. Thank you very much.
Yes! It's not just Smeagol! Sorry.
Ugh.
How many?
I've fallen back, and I'm probably now got my head turned, and now I'm looking at Process
It is just. I mean, he's laughing, but
just to
But
see the
it
expression
is-
on his face.
he's laughing, but in a low key kind of a way.
Okay,
hypersonic
and I'll finally
I can't
like
imagine him doing anything else.
I'll slowly finally sit back up so as not to pass out.
I live to amuse,
Hmm.
among other things. I think I will save the scandalous talk for another time. It seems that most of you not exactly in the market for that kind of thing, which is a shame. There are not many people who can say they have had dealings with beings of my type. And everyone has something to recommend them. When it comes to war, I fight for my people. When it comes to love, I don't choose sides.
It's a great way to put it.
Feel free to borrow it, Mister.
I would.
I understand that you and the tattooist. He said, if he can talk about it, so can I. So, you have a wishing in you to join the Brass Arrows.
Yes.
May I ask for any specifics as to why?
There's a creature that we require. It's a two-headed snake with two different types of particularly nasty venom.
The Amphisbena.
Mm-hmm.
Out of character hands, technically at least two, because if you're lucky, you can also find a gelatinous cube for the living acid.
Ah, yes, correct. Thank you. My brain was just snake. So, thank you. I completely forgot. As there's the snake. Also, the possibility of a gelatinous cube as well. We need there are parts or pieces we need from either of these creatures to further our goal. I don't know if you were aware, but
I know how a
the,
dragon slayer weapon is made.
exactly. Yeah. So that's why we're here, and
She
we're
actually reaches behind the throne and pulls out this really nasty looking glaive. Clank.
wow.
It's mine.
That's some nice work.
Yes, it is one of the earlier Steel Singer pieces.
Okay.
That explains why it's familiar looking.
Right, Hazel?
Yeah. Even more intimidated than before.
Puts the glaive away. So before I can send you on this kind of... Before I can let you simply hunt as you please, I must perforce give you some kind of trial. Something relatively close by, and something that might be relatively needful. I shall have to think upon this for a moment. She actually reaches into the sort of bone structure under the throne and picks up this kind of battered-looking ledger. Talk amongst yourselves. I have some things to be looking up.
God, I nearly forgot about the game.
Oh, sweet Paylor, this woman is amazing.
That's good. Thank you. I can still hear you.
Hazel, breathe.
Well, since that has apparently put paid to any of your conversation.
Speaking of snakes,
What's up now?
do you think we have to get this venom while it's still in the snake?
Well,
Like, remove its poison glands? Do they
well,
still
I
have
mean-
to be full?
uh,
I'm picturing the scenario where it attacks us, we survive the poison, but all the poison's being used up, and we actually have to keep it around and let it make more.
It makes more very quickly. I would not worry too much about that. I would more worry about the fact that it does replace those so quickly.
that's a very good point. Well, yeah, and we still need to figure out, the best course of action. I mean, obviously, the best course of action would be for none of us to get hit a bit.
I would rather no one got jumped on by a thing that I can't fix.
Well, that's only one of them.
That's still bad.
Well, yes, but my doing some thinking about it on the flight over. That's still weird. It was fascinating.
I'm glad I was in the galley the whole time.
That was fascinating. And
The whole time?
no, not quite. There was a time when you were there was at least a little bit you were at the railing.
Yeah, I don't want to do that again.
But my thought was hopefully one course of action would be to distract each head to different people. The one, the hardiest of us.
Remy's just been volunteered.
She's not going to complain this time.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm not. I don't know what people's constitution scores are, so I'm not saying anything.
There's an old Elvish saying, they can't hurt what they can't hit.
And then there's
I'm thinking of staying a long way away and throwing things at it.
The crossbow, and now I have the spear too, but I don't think I want to be throwing a new spear. I want that to come back.
You never
I
did
can
explain
deal
the
with
spear, by the way.
poison, so... Well, I can deal with it to a point, so let's not invite it to poison anybody, but...
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking in terms of what do we do if we do wind up close and personal with it.
Hmm.
You hit it until it dies.
Yeah. Yes. And depending on, the whole idea is I'm trying not to get one person bit by both heads at once.
Hmm.
Because at least one of the heads does something I can't fix.
You
I
really
wonder if
do
we can
take personal offense to that, don't you?
Yes!
I wonder if we can find any snake experts.
Yeah, that was going to
In
be my
a
next suggestion.
guild of monster hunters in the city.
I mean, I've dealt with small, forest pythons before, but that's a forked stick around the neck.
Yes, these are more the size of the average humanoid, so no.
Anyway,
You could
What's
go
the
to
next?
stop talking. Thank you. You could go to Valare Leathers. They have a process with their leathers, the tanning, that uses some of the poisons. Makes for rather sturdy armor of the leather variety. On the subject of armor, young Lady Paladin Crestwind, your armor is reinforced with the hide of Umber Hulk, is it not?
Yes.
Well, then you will understand why I would send you to the. There is an old temple about a day's journey on foot from here, where we have heard tell that there is an Umber Hulk. Is not very much because it's quite close to town, but the various scholars they come through all the time. We do not like to see them eaten, so we try to keep it cleared out fairly regularly.
mm-hmm.
And we cannot have an Umber Hulk in their burial chambers eating people. Is not done.
That's fair.
Not to mention the fact that I would not mind having a new set of armor. Do not always need it, but it's nice for the fashion statement anyway. Besides, none of them know that I do not technically need the armor, because if you hit me enough for the human body to die, you do not like what happens next very much.
It's very fair.
Yeah.
So yes, I will send you out, and I will ask you to bring me the fresh killed hide of an Umber Hulk. You come back with
All
that.
right then.
You have admittance into the brass arrows. You do not, I will have to find something that will tax you a little bit less than that.
I do have one question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of us know how to remove the hide of an Umber Hulk.
Nai has nature. He can probably figure it out. That would be if you say in character, dear. And you're frozen. Oh, shit.
Can give it a shot.
We'll see if we can't. You said there was would the leather people have any idea? Just give us some pointers first.
Potentially, but excuse me, Mr. We are all a family. Did he not say that he grew up in forest sort of area where they kind of rely on skinning things in order to, eat and clothe themselves and live? Stop underestimating your people. If they say they can try it, then they can probably do better than they say they do. Because this one looks like he would not know a bragging statement if it bit his head off, unlike you, who would not know how to stop unless someone bit your head off.
Fair point.
I would recommend leaving it done. We are not at the hottest point of the year, so you can travel in the day. So you should be fine. I note that most of you are not very much with night vision, so I keep that into account. There may be trials on the way, desert creatures, that kind of thing. It is not the safest thing. But since I'm sending you to deal with an Umber Hulk, so I would recommend spend the rest of the afternoon trying to equip yourselves, that sort of thing. Make sure you are prepared for inclement weather, spelunking, that kind of thing. Spend another. You have never seen a proper tomb. Oh, this is going to be fun for you. Heh. Heh. I'd like to see how braggy you are when you come back from that. In any case, spend another night wherever you are staying. Unfortunately, I still cannot open this district to you until you are actually proper members of the Brass Arrows. There are spells and things. It is how it works. And I will either see you come back with your shields or upon them.
That's fair.
That is very clearly a dismissal. She just as clearly is not all that big on Darwin.
Bowing,
Mhm.
backing
Yeah,
up.
Froseth
Out
gives
the
it.
door.
And as you're leaving, when you're out of earshot, just from Froseth, well, that went well.
I think. I hope.
I
We
still have
got
my
what
head.
we got what we needed to know.
Yeah.
And I
Are we?
still- Hmm?
How sure are we that we're out of earshot?
Very sure. Froseth wouldn't have said anything, and he probably has a bit more understanding of dragons, particularly the ancient ones, just from a race memory perspective than most of the rest of you.
I have a question. What's an Umber Hulk?
Make me a nature or arcana check, depending on what's higher. Just to see if you actually have to ask that question.
They're the same. So since I did nature last time, it's an
Yeah.
18.
No, you actually know what Number Hulk is.
Okay.
Just for the absolute record, let's see if I can find a nice, easy description of them.
The fun part is that I know from like second edition and other sources.
I don't think
So
I don't think they're that different. I mean, they're kind of human size, well, bigger than human sized insectile things that burrow through
Mhm.
just about everything. Their hide is unbelievably tough, and they can effectively fuck with your head. It's confusion all over again, guys.
oh, thanks. Yeah, I was going to say it fits very well with the whole elf out of water thing, or elf out of forest, I should say. He thinks he knows, but knowledge might be outdated or inaccurate.
But yeah, that unfortunately for adventurers, throughout all of the plains, Umber Hulks basically turn up, quite literally pop up everywhere.
Yep. I always took them in look to be kind of like the big chitinous creatures from the Dark Crystal back in the day.
No, they're more human shaped, according
Oh,
to the
really? Okay.
pictures.
Okay.
They're actually more human shaped. They're more bipedal. They are actually bipedal with actual functioning arms, according to the
Okay.
picture.
Thank you.
It's just that their backs are kind of like that, but basically head of fly meets pincers of beetle, back of beetle, but more humanoid streamlined,
Gotcha.
and armored limbs of the more humanoid, etc. persuasion.
Okay.
I mean, you can obviously roll nature or arcana to see if you know that.
I don't know.
All of you.
Oh boy. 16.
Hazel knows. Hazel probably asked Jenna
22.
after the. Yeah, you guys probably actually asked Jenna
14.
Remy's heard stories, but she's not 100% sure. You guys, when you heard that an Umber Hulk took Jenna's arm, took pains to ask.
Because something that could take the arm of someone that badass, I was like, what the heck could do that?
So yeah, they made it a point to actually figure it out. Remy's pretty sure that that description I just gave, that Darvin's probably rattling off, is correct. But since she's never seen one, although probably in the middle of Darvin's telling about it, the fact that the armor that Remy is wearing is actually reinforced with the hide of the one that took Jenna's arm off.
Mm-hmm. I definitely would make a very large point of that. Because I probably would remember that was the case, that it was like, mentioning, yes, reinforced with Umber Hulk, but then as I'm describing the what an Umber Hulk, I would then, Jenna's arm, and that was the one that the reinforcement came from, yeah. So, and that conversation would be had as we were going back to actually. Would we be going directly back to the Tipsy Pixie? And do we want to stay there again? Come to think of it. I'm asking everybody.
Yeah, it's a nice
I want
place.
to stay again.
Would you like a private room?
You should afford
Okay.
another.
Maybe we
room.
shouldn't have her expend too much of her energy.
Actually, she looked perkier after that as well. So.
I mean, not for nothing, but she did look a lot less flaily than I've seen her in quite some time. I'm
This
just saying.
is true.
I'm just saying.
And from Froseth, less flaily Hazel is something that I might actually be willing to contribute towards.
That's up to Hazel.
I also have questions about the pomegranate.
And you know what? I'm not going to resist the urge. Is it? I know, Hazel, I know it's not, but part of me really wants to ask if that was a euphemism.
And Flitty kind of lands on Darvin's shoulder and Nomph on the ear.
On his ear, yeah.
And flies back
I
to
earned that. That's fair. That's fair.
flies back to Hazel and says in Sylvan, I bet you could have asked the dragon lady. She liked conversation, and asking about her home the way she was asking about yours might have been polite.
Good point, Floody.
Expression of blind panic.
Yeah, that was Sylvan, so Nye understood that as well.
When we get back, we'll do that.
I think Remy's the only one who didn't understand the self.
Froseth.
Froseth
Those
and
were
Nader.
flushing to action.
Remy's
Floody
not
just-
asking.
Oh, okay.
Froseth?
No, I just never seen humans change color that fast before.
Oh. We'll deal with it later. That's a problem for future us.
Sorry, there's a problem now?
No. She was asking so much about our home, we never asked about hers. So that was kind of rude. Could have been seen as such. Not even if we didn't intend to. Be rude.
Well, we did get down to business. I might have asked about the dragonborn cuisine. I've never had anyone specialize in that before.
Yeah, I mean that did look interesting. And we might want to find out about.
I don't think you'd like it.
Oh no! I was thinking in terms of. I wonder if we could find out more about that and then talk to Mom and Mama and make that more of a thing for you later. Just a thought.
It doesn't really say anything, but it sort of shrugs it off in that kind of I don't really want to be trouble kind of way.
Yeah, but it's it's a type, that's something that Darwin's gonna hopefully remember for later because it's
If you don't remember, I will.
Yeah, it's like nice thing to do for family.
Yes, I am. I am Darwin's memory. I am most of your memories.
Weren't we supposed to be taking? Like, which one of us was? Oh, that was. I just realized it was
Praise the
Anthony that was
GM.
supposed to be taking notes. Oops.
Well, guess what? It's your time. Your time for that now.
Yeah, well, I
Was
wrote
I-
down. I wrote down the leather shop and the starlit sky at least.
Yeah. Well, look at it. Look at it this way. You guys made so much for party funds that you could probably spare like a half platinum to you know, treat yourselves. I think Darwin in particular will realize that that's as necessary as the bare essentials if you've got the extra. And given that I think you all more or less understand from the people who have been desperately trying to make it into the Brass Arrows, you get paid a bounty.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're only doing it as a test and you're not in yet, that bounty was still paid to the Brass Arrows for whatever bit they asked to have collected. So, like, for example, Kreia Bendis would have put her own funds in to get someone to get that Umber Hulk hide for her. Even though she could really easily do it herself, she probably litters little jobs like that.
I love the look on your face when you little. That was great.
Little for her, not so much for
fair.
you.
Fair.
Yeah,
But-
versus Upper Hulk.
Yeah, basically.
Might
But-
spoil the hide.
Fair.
Well, she
Anyway.
could. To be fair, she could also do. She could do a fair bit in human form as well. And you keep a lot of your stats.
Okay.
Jeez.
So
then
yeah,
I'm-
if you guys want to spend another night at the Tipsy Pixie, and if various of you were interested in exploring the non
Extras.
the extra menu options.
I love it. That's a great way to put it. Oh, I love you.
From the specials menu.
Yes.
It's like the special cocktail menu you get, except all those euphemisms you can are not so euphemistic.
I adore you. Like, yeah, sex on the beach, please, sex on the beach.
No.
If there was a beach, but I digress.
Well, there's certainly sand if that's your canon.
No.
Gets everywhere. Anyway. I hate sand. Okay. Anyway.
God, that was awful.
Okay. Given that you're probably going to want to reserve rooms at the Tipsy Pixie, and some of you are probably going to want to shed armor if you're doing the shopping, because I imagine that Remy probably went in the full-on freaking plate, because that's when she does what she does when she wants to look official and impressive, but it's also hot and she feels like she's in an oven. Not quite as bad as the Southern Lands, though, so she can take it. But if there's an option to just go shopping in plain clothes, someplace where, as far as she's aware, no one wants her dead.
That
Bonus!
clause is worrying.
Well, Remy has led an interesting life, so have you all. And in all fairness, technically speaking, the god of chromatic dragons wants you dead.
So Remy keeps her sword on her at all times.
All times?
90% of times.
Okay, given that we've spent the last 5 minutes euphemizing, and we're getting
Cut it
to
out.
about that time, we will take our break,
Mm-hmm.
and when we come back, we will deal with the accommodations and whatever shopping and question asking you're going to do. Yeah, and we're back. This lot have just more or less got out of the conversation with Kreia Bendis of Elzor High, uh, having slightly annoyed the ancient brass dragon. Oopsie. Annoyed and possibly offended. You don't know. And are looking to prepare themselves for leaving at approximately dawn for a 2 day's ride out of the city to go and kill an Umber Hulk for admission to the Brass Arrows. So, what do you want to do?
Um,
Well, Remy
so,
probably wants to shed the armor, but
Mhm.
so on the way back, or on the way in the general direction of the Tipsy Pixie, after going over the Umber Hulk stuff, I will turn to the group and be like, "So we want to stay at the Tipsy Pixie again?"
Yes.
It's a nice
Harry,
place.
yes.
I
Okay.
have no objections.
So then we'll head on back and look for Emil.
Or whoever's on shift.
Mm.
well, by the time you guys get back to the Tipsy Pixie, um, you've had your snacks, but lunch is more or less happening. Again, you've got a kind of a there's a smell in the air that's um, mutton and wine and garlic and various herbs, and that's what the various philosophers, etc., appear to be eating. This sort of actual leg of something that's apparently been slow cooked in this for goodness only knows how long. And Emil, having had his, morning nap, etc., is just, and welcome back to the Tipsy Pixie. How can I help you?
We are going to require rooms again, if we may.
The same approximate setup?
Um, just looking at the group to see.
Remy kind of just looks off to the staff.
Well, it's lunch hour at the moment, so it's a little less. Well, on the one hand, it's a little less, obviously procurement worthy, I guess. But at the same time, there's more table service, and what you're seeing is some fairly good-looking individuals of various races and species. So you get the feeling that this is kind of your preview.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't drink. Oh boy.
Yeah. Emil does say Kezia will be back later on this evening. She had a bit of an evening.
Glenn just raises an eyebrow toward Hazel. I know that you know what, Emil, I'm sorry. It's now since slipped my mind. How much was a private room again?
Oh Christ! You actually expect me to remember this now? Fantastic.
I think it was wasn't it a wasn't a
It
whole
was it was 17 it was 17 silver per
Mhm.
room, two for a single room, 2 gold for a double.
I think we'll all get individual rooms if we can.
I think
Beyond that, it's going to be up to each individual and their requests, as it were.
well then, I we do have We do have single rooms on the first floor, and given the number of single rooms, I believe that I can probably take the price down to 15 silver per room.
That would be wonderful.
A bulk discount if you like.
That is greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
I see why Kezia took a liking to you.
Hazel is a very wonderful individual.
Kezia, she has a weakness for the cute.
Hazel is definitely that, yes.
He sets down keys with little wooden key fobs with numbers on them.
Mm.
Your rooms are 2 floors up this time.
Mhm.
There are more towards the top.
Thank you. So go ahead and step in.
And
I'll-
obviously feel free to avail yourself of lunch.
I'll go ahead and go up to my room, just take a look.
I mean, the ones on the 3rd floor, and probably kind of explains the 2 silver discount. They're a little bit smaller, but still plush and comfy, and kind of canopied-ish beds. Although you kind of get the feeling that, particularly in summer, those are necessary if they've got like mosquitoes and the like, and lot of silks, lot of satins, a lot of cushions.
I don't know about everybody else. Remy, I'm assuming I'm assuming Remy's going to take some time to remove armor and such.
Yes.
So my thought was, while that was going on, Darwin would just take a moment just to look through his own stuff, just see if there was anything I didn't really want to carry right now, and probably deciding to just hang on to all of it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Darwin probably doesn't carry very much because he would
Exactly.
have anything particularly heavy he would have given to somebody to put in a bag of holding for him anyway.
Exactly. But, the opportunity plus gives it an excuse to go ahead and take a look at the room and see what it's like, considering he's never been in any kind of a place like this. So
Apart from
quite
last
his
night.
style. Well, but that was a different set of room.
That's very true.
That was not an individual room, so that's why.
Yeah, the individual rooms are obviously a little bit smaller than the shared rooms, but still plush and cushy. And Nye in particular has never seen anything like this. And again, a little bit last night, but he was still kind of sharing. And as far as places to trance go, this is I mean, all of the rooms come equipped with a little drawer in the bedside table that's got little candles in them, and they all smell a bit different. So it's like, scented candles for whatever in the evening. Hazel knows all about this. Kezia walked her through the entire thing.
It's like, oh, it's this again.
Well, yeah, yeah. Let's Hazel. She was just trying to put Hazel a bit more at her ease. Poor thing.
Yeah,
But
Hazel is just flopped out on the bed, just waiting for people at this point, just kind of trying to not think, because every time she tries thinking, she starts turning colors.
although
Because the smell is very much causing flashbacks.
yeah, so lying. So you decide to try to get past the flashbacks by lying in the same approximate cushy bed situation as.
So that she doesn't freeze up later, yes.
Okay. Eventually, you all meet back up. Lunch is still being served. The Goliath is apparently not on shift at the moment. Instead, what you have is a very dark-skinned halfling man. And he's just bustling around, and apparently at around this point, the drinks bars sort of stay shut down because apparently it's mostly lively at night. So yeah, the food bar is handling wine with lunch, etc. So yeah, you eventually meet back up downstairs with Remy in casual clothes and
Wow.
and Hazel hasn't done her straight for the halfling thing.
It's like sitting there just sort of vibrating. What?
And at first that's what we were gonna ask you.
You seem a little on edge.
And beeline.
And you see Hazel heading for the halfling running the food bar.
Just blur.
What? Huh?
Hello to you.
Hey,
I am Omeden.
I'm Hazel. Hazel Hearthheart. How are you doing?
Not too badly. Is the usual lunchtime rush. Can I help you with anything?
Well, what's the lunch thing today?
Is leg of lamb, slow cooked in a wine, garlic, and herb sauce. Has been cooking for hours, so it's very, very tender. With the boiled potatoes, so it's best to soak up the remains of the sauce. And local vegetables. There are not many local vegetables, but we make do.
We'll take some of that.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, you're still sitting over there.
Way over there. I've eventually make my way probably at the tail end of probably heard, we don't have many vegetables, well, we make do.
Hello to you.
Hello, Darvin. I was far away and I didn't hear if you'd said your name.
Omeden.
Omiden? Okay.
Omeden.
I don't know. Hopefully say it right then.
Is foreigners is not a problem. Yes, your friend here, she has had squee over our lunch, which is slow cooked leg of lamb in a wine, garlic, and herb sauce.
Oh, that sounds delightful. Yeah, we'll definitely have servings of lunch.
We do have a wine that we recommend with.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't had too much wine yet.
It's one of those things that you sweat out in this kind of weather. It's good for that kind of thing anyway.
That's true. I'm not used to temperatures quite this consistently high.
Your total for lunch for the 5 of you with the wine is 5 gold.
All right.
Did you have a preference in server? Hazel gets it! But you might want to ask Remy, given she was the one who was asking about single rooms and looking around,
Remy's definitely looking
Darvin!
around.
Remy, go ask. I'm like shoving him in Remy's
Is
direction.
there anything in specific that Remy is looking for?
Oh, jeez.
Trying to
Roll a
decide
die.
on Remy's tastes. Yeah.
Yes. No.
Say dwarvenly.
No.
You just want a keg situation. In this situation, Remy is keg, okay?
Wow.
If you haven't been keeping up with Critical Role of late, you probably won't get that, but fuck it, I don't care.
Is she the one who gets aroused by every
Yes,
woman?
Ashley
Okay,
Birch.
I've seen
yeah.
the pictures.
Yeah, no, that's but eventually Bo just went the mighty nine's useless lesbian and just went, yeah, you want to hang with me? You can sneak out in the morning. It won't be weird.
And she was just like, okay.
Yeah, it's like we all know what's happening. Cake is aroused. Okay, yeah, cool. And when Matt tried to sort of gloss over it, you just have Ashley Birch live in front of Gen Con going, yeah, no, it's sex, it's lots of sex. That was such a fun episode. Anyway,
We digress.
well, it kills time for noms to think about what Remy's taste might be.
Oh yeah.
Remy, yes, is looking at the ones in particular of a male or female, human or elf variety.
There's plenty enough of that, male and female. And it at this point a lot depends on if there's any specific sort of look or just style of person, because she's basically got her pick. The skin tone tends a little bit towards the dark, as does the hair. There's actually two, one male, one female, who go a little bit more on the flamboyant end of the scale. The female has probably magically colored her hair this sort of silver blonde, which falls basically down to her knees, hooked in various places in gold. Kind of think Jasmine from the Aladdin Disney movie, except silver white with the gold bands just standing out in it. The male's hair, he's a half elf. His hair is the sort of midnight blue, and again, there's probably some sort of magic involved in it, because this sort of floppy, almost shoulder-length hair occasionally twinkles in what at first looks like it might be somehow premature gray, but why would there be premature gray if he doesn't know? He's actually done that to look like little stars.
Ha! That is so cool.
He is more towards the built, oddly, and he wears sort of navy blue and silver to sort of match up with the hair. The woman is more on the slender side, only a little bit taller than Remy, so about Hazel's height, and she tends more towards what she's wearing is this sort of almost violet kind of silver gray shift that leaves a little bit to the imagination.
Wow.
The guy's got a little bit less skin on show, but that changes depending on where he's standing as the light shines through. Because in some lights it looks like his blue part shirt kind of deal, and trousers are solid material, but if he stands in a more lighted area or the light's behind him, it shines through and it shows the moderately impressive musculature and a very well-formed backside.
It's transparent.
Mostly transparent. So you've got Darvin sort of walking up, and how are you going to ask about server preferences?
So I'm just going to kind of try to do this as quietly as I can, to lean in, and Remy, believe it or not, and given you were
still is apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
Given you, do you have any preferences in terms of servers? was what I was asked. So you seem to be looking around a bit more than any of us. So I figured I'd give you the chance to volunteer a preference.
So I guess she'll look to the waiter and then think I would like to meet her, and she points to the silver-haired woman.
Oh, good choice.
Well, keep in mind you can pick someone different at dinner and comparison shopping.
Hmm.
That's a good point.
And you
By the
know,
way-
if you want tea after your meal, you just
Hmm.
flag
The
down
gold-
somebody else who interests you.
Mm.
The gold with the
Does,
silver is a really
does
nice
the
touch.
silver blonde-haired one look at all like Andri?
No, she's human, she's shorter, and while she's pretty in a very different way. There's something timeless and ethereal about this woman, whereas Andri, while she looks more elven than your average half elf, has picked up some of the more earthy, down home kind of way of carrying herself that basically says hearth home. So basically, it's just the color of the hair, and even this woman's it's a different shade.
So more platinum than
Yeah, and it's we're talking pretty close to white.
Hmm.
hmm.
So yeah, I'll go back to where Hazel is and uh, make Remy's preference known.
Ah, Alice. Wonderful choice.
Lovely name, and yeah, the gold the gold in the silver hair is very lovely.
She had we do not pick uniforms. They dress themselves, so to speak.
I was paying the compliment.
You might wish to pay it to Alice herself, is
Oh,
all
I will.
I was
I
trying
will.
to say.
Fair.
Because I had nothing to do with it. It not my area of interest. On the other hand, I do not have an area of interest, so I can only speak to the aesthetics, not the interest. Alice will bring your dinner if you would, well, your lunch. Well, if you would like to make the name known ahead of time. I admit I am almost curious as to whether any of the others at your table would have preferences. I already know what this one's preference is.
Uh,
Squeak, squeak.
and I
squeak,
will.
Squeak.
I'll just
Squeak
gesture
all the way
over
back to the table.
Yeah, gesture over toward Remy. Remy Cresswin
No, I meant
name.
sit
Hmm?
down and tell
Ah,
the woman and tell your companion the name of the server. It's
All right.
not like we wear little name badges.
where would you put him? Anyway,
I am Omeden. Just so that you have not made this trip for nothing. Go sit down and make this one stop being silly.
just kind of usher.
I'm just watching them come back.
The first is just you get used to it.
That was fun.
Remy, her name is Alice.
Good to know.
And she will be bringing lunch along shortly.
I need to go to the Starlit Sky.
Yes, it's on the list. We also need to go.
I'm trying to distract you, idiots.
Good luck. We also need to go to Valere Leathers.
Valare.
Valare, my bad. Thank you.
Although knowing Darvin not being anywhere near as worldly as he thinks he is, he probably pronounced it badly. So that probably came from Frozen.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Want to see the shrine to the local god's shrine? Definitely.
The God's
Mhm.
Hall. Yeah.
Yep, that was on the list. I don't know if we'll have time tonight, but
You probably at first is just poking Darvin and going, "Don't tell a cleric. I don't think that you don't have time for her to
Oh,
Do her
right.
devotions just before you
I
go on a mission.
didn't mean it like that, but yes, thank you. Apologies,
You might want to
Hazel.
make time.
No, no. Point. My apologies, Hazel.
Why do I have a feeling that Remy says nothing but just sort of looking at Darwin like, really?
Yeah, Brosis had it covered, but yeah,
But,
look.
but there's the look, yeah.
Okay.
Ben, if you're trying to say anything at all, you're muted. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Nye is still sort of just silently watching the chaos, and Pride decides he stuck his foot in his mouth enough for one day.
The night is still young.
It's not even
The
night
night
yet.
hasn't even
It's
started yet. It's still like, what, lunchtime? A little bit after?
little after lunchtime. You're having a bit of a late lunch, but you did have
Yeah,
snacks at the.
So instead of sticking my own foot in my mouth, I'm going to stick some leg of lamb in my mouth.
Yes, and while Darwin is trying to extract his boot from his mouth to make room for his lunch, lunch does arrive. It's rather surprising how this rather slender woman is managing a tray of five plates with the goblets and a bottle of wine. You get used to it. The accent is not here. The accent is actually more Belarisian. I'm Alice. Hi.
Hi, I'm Remy
Ah,
Crestwin.
wonderful to meet you. That accent is mirroring my own, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Huh. Crestwind. My parents used to get lemon zest rolls from a shop with that name.
Yes, that would be my parents.
You needed to try to find a somewhat more adventuresome life too, didn't you?
Slightly different adventure, but yes.
This wasn't exactly where I was going to end up, but you get to meet lots of wonderful new people.
I bet.
Let's just say I ended up with the wrong adventuring party. They were nice enough, but they kind of died of stupid. So I basically took the first job that came along. Thankfully, I got the looks to back it up.
Yes, you do.
Thank you. And I know it's full of myself to say, but it's nice actually hearing it from a moderately unbiased source. I've been told to tell you. I've been told to tell you about the wine. I was told to tell you a whole bunch of stuff about top notes and the aging process, and I don't do that kind of thing because I imagine you don't care. But it's kind of smooth with a bit of a rough edge to it. It's kind of like you, really. Poor. If you need anything else, I'm on shift until at least midnight. I'll kind of keep things open, I guess. And obviously, if you're not happy with how I am doing the service, you can always ask somebody else. I'm not entirely great at this. I look wonderful and exotic and whatever, but I don't do the talking bits all that well.
Going fine so far.
Thank you.
Remy doesn't talk so great either.
Neither do you, Hazel.
I'm
why
awful at
sometimes?
it, and I will say I'm awful at it.
Oh, I don't know. Kizzy said you were adorable.
Hazel is definitely that.
And glowing.
See?
It's nice, but it's not for me. I tend to prefer a little bit of rough. Anyway, I will be over there. I should probably also say, just before I go, embarrassing as this is, my training involves barbarian. That gives me stamina.
I
Not a word. Not a word.
Remy seems to be enjoying the hell out of this.
Remy's
I don't.
looking
I
at
want
the
to say
others.
something. But I'm not gonna.
Okay, sorry. Through the laughter, I only caught about half of that. Can you repeat that, Noms?
Remy's watching her. You know, hate to see you go, but like to see you leave.
I'm just watching Remy watch and just.
Yeah.
Like in my head, it's just, oh yeah, individual rooms, good idea.
Well, yeah,
Anything comes out of it, good idea.
particularly when you factor in the following phrase, I would like to rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Klingon Destructo Nookie, and that's what the mental image I'm getting.
Destructo Nookie, what the? Okay.
Not so much that. I mean, the great thing with that kind of thing is that as long as it's some kind of contact, you can qualify it as an attack of some sort. So the various stamina advantages could probably translate. And if I have to write a D&D class sex manual, given the fact that I'm
Oh,
ace, that's
my.
going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Then again,
Oh, boy.
I'm coming from it at it from an incredibly objective perspective. So hey,
There are at least 2 that I'm aware of, but I don't know if either of them
Right.
are updated for this version.
Right.
probably not yet.
Good
No.
question.
But anyway,
Anyway, yes. So you guys are just watching Remy watch the very exotic looking, very down to earth sounding, apparently barbarian trained surfer. Yeah.
Darvin has a look like he wants to say something, but is too.
We've met the most interesting people.
Well, you and Remy have.
And gotten to know them.
Well, Hazel has.
Flitty
Remy, you're amazing.
and Flitty just quietly, you met them. This is in Sylvan because most people understand that.
Mhm.
You met them. You just didn't meet them in a boinky sense.
I'm just the stare has gravitated over to the little furry.
That was
dragon.
nearly a spit take. That was nearly a spit take. I had the cup like right here, and Flitty said that. I was... Okay. Huh.
Does meeting in your world have to involve the boinky things? Does that mean you
I
only
just learned
ever...
a new word in Sylvan.
Well,
Well, it's not that Remy entirely understands it. You're just seeing the reactions of these guys. Does that mean you only met the tiefling man?
Red. Red, but at the same time,
Does that mean that the Mori lady doesn't count? That mean that the Jet and Jazz twin people don't count?
it doesn't always involve.
Boinky.
Was that not in? Was that in Sylvan or not?
It has to have been because
Because mine wasn't.
Well,
All you
his
heard
ca-
was it doesn't always have to involve, and then I sort of trailed off.
I
and then you were
think
Sylvan.
Nye is low whiz, high int. I think he figured it out.
Fair.
Well, then you should be more careful with your words. I don't understand common very well, so when you say that meeting has to involve the things, that means you're leaving out some very good people, including me.
Yes.
I don't think I could do that. I think I might have some real problems with that.
Nope.
I'm too small,
Yep.
and you're too human-shaped.
Yep.
That is the weirdest thing I have heard! In Sylvan.
I'm not sure. In Sylvan, I'm not sure I needed this line of thought.
He needs to learn. He is a bard
Where-
man. He needs to be better at this sort of thing.
Where'd my wine go?
I need more drink.
Yeah. I mean,
And for first, it just turns around to Remy and goes, when they refuse to swap out of Sylvan, you get the feeling that it's something we probably really don't want to know.
Yeah, I can live with that.
And I am halfway through my cups.
So, we wanted to go to the Starlit Sky. We wanted to go to Valar. Yeah, I'm gonna mangle that one. Valare. Thank you, Froseth. Ah, the accent, it's throwing me off. And we wanted to go to the Gods Hall. Was there any place else?
Is there anything we need to prepare for the
Is the
Umbra Hall?
Leather's place in the... Is the Leather's place in the armor and arms selling district?
Yes, it is.
Is that... Well, we're gonna be there anyway, so we can have a...
Sorry, you blipped out a little bit there. So you'll have a...
So we can have a look around.
This is true. Wait, didn't Emil give us a map?
Yes, Emil did give you a map. Let me flag it back up here.
No, I will pull the. I will ask somebody for it if I don't have one on me, because I don't remember if that got in the bag of holding or if.
Furseth pulls it out of the bag of holding.
Okay.
Looking probably quite relieved that somebody has some common sense at this point.
Yeah. Why it's me? Occasionally, I guess.
Because you're the leader, man. This time
I
in
still don't
Draconic.
understand how the hell that happened.
Well,
Anyway,
it happened, so you better learn how to do it. So that upside down headbutts him. Boonk.
you're right. Thank you.
It just settles on top of Darwin's head.
Lydia, I think you're more leader than me. But anyway, I digress. Well, you are looking out for your pets.
Well, yes, but that's
Just grins a little.
that's more in a support capacity.
Good point.
I can't have all the ideas for you because you can do more things than me because you're bigger and have hands.
Yeah, thumbs.
I got thumblets, kinda ish, but
You're adorable.
I love you.
Is this in Sylvan? Am I understanding
No,
this?
it's Draconic.
that's draconic.
Yeah.
Like, mostly
Good.
you just
I'm
see
watching this and going,
Flitty
"What?"
going mink mink, and then just Flitty flies over to Hazel's plate and sort of nomps on one of her chunks of potato.
Scritch. Offers more potato.
Nomp.
And I am now just feeding the fairy dragon.
Okay, so looking at the map, I'm going, okay, so the leather, we're here, pointing at the Tipsy Pixie, and we want to go to the leathers, which is over here. And then I'm not seeing, we may have to ask, because I'm not seeing
The gods?
Starlight.
Oh no, yeah, I didn't mark everything on the map.
No, that's I'm doing this in character.
Yeah. You imagine
so let's
it's
look at
probably in the flintlock, though.
Yeah.
And then
Okay,
there's
we
the
may
God's
have-
Hall there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So the God's Hall's there, and I'm pointing to the 7 on the map, and okay, so I don't see it marked on here. It's probably over in the Flintlock, but we can ask where the Starlight is. So
The starlit
It looks-
sky.
so let's see. What are we thinking? God's Hall. Hazel, did you want to wait and do the God's Hall last, and have that be like the last thing before we come back here for the night, or did you need to do?
As long as there's time.
There will be time.
From the point of view of someone who knows/remembers the devotions of Pelor, there tend to be uh, rites at sunrise and sunset, and you probably haven't. I mean, you've had your individual rites at those times, but you haven't had anything run by a senior cleric, as it were, since before you left Hearthhome properly, the first time with Nora. So you might want to try and aim for sunset.
Just one thing, though, Darwin.
Mhm.
If we can manage it, I'd prefer sunset.
Of course. Okay. Okay. Yeah. We should be able to at least the leathers, or I mean, hit starlit sky, and then the leathers, provided we don't look around too terribly much, or if we do and it starts getting closer to sunset, that's not going to be. From the map here, it doesn't look like that's going to be too far away from God's Hall.
Yeah, keep in mind that this is a fairly small city.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so if need be, if we see, we'll keep an eye on the time, and as it gets closer to sunset, we'll, if need be, you can we'll head over that way. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, we'll have lunch and then we'll go to Starlit and go from there. Does that sound kosher for everybody else? Or sound good for everybody else? Yeah.
Since nobody has asked for another server, Alice comes and tops up wine glasses, and since there's like 5 of you, that pretty much drains the bottle. So, if you want another one, let me know. Did you want anything else?
Alice, do you happen to know where the Starlit Sky is?
Yes, I do actually. There's this little alley off the Gods Hall.
Perfect.
You have a map. Okay, I can point.
Yep.
And she points to that little tiny alley over there.
Ah.
There's a couple of jewelers and I mean, they didn't really know where to put that kind of thing because on the one hand some of that might have gone in, I mean, basically there's the fletchings and there's the flintlock, and the flintlock's all the armor and arms and stuff, and the fletchings is just market, and with things like raw diamonds for spells that need that kind of thing, and magical items and that kind of stuff. The stuff that doesn't fit under the category of arms and armor. They didn't really know where to put it, so they decided to stick it by the Gods Hall, which is near enough to, the quiver and the nest that any kind of enforcement can be swiftly, harshly dealt with, and close enough to the Gods Hall that you've got cleric-y kinds of people that can put down any kinds of problems.
Right.
Plus, you've got a whole bunch of people over there that can detect evil, so you're not selling the wrong kinds of crap. The governor doesn't put up with that kind of crap, and given the tombs we've got basically all throughout the country, just so that you know, dessert is this kind of, and if you're interested in it, it's this kind of, I've never been able to pronounce what they call it, but it's this sort of flaky, pastry-ish kind of thing filled with various different flavors of kind of a fluffy mousse cream kind of thing. I just call them mousse shells, and people don't understand what I talk about when I'm talking about when I say that, but they're shells and they're full of mousse. But not M-O-O-S. You know what I mean.
No mousse.
No! Although don't tempt the gentleman Goliath who works here. He might actually try to make moose. I'm almost curious to see if he could manage to make
And fun.
Moose. She
Just hold
okay?
it still and step on it.
He's not that big.
Well, I mean, the piece. Never mind.
I have fallen off of my seat.
Oh dear. Well, okay. Well, thank you for leaving the glass on the table, Hazel.
Sort of turns and looks at Remy and goes, "They're not the kind of stupid I had to deal with, and I don't know which is worse, but at least yours are probably likely to survive."
Well, if I have anything to say about it.
We didn't.
But anyways, I think I will save dessert for this evening.
So a different kind of delivery system for the moose. I can get behind that.
Layers might be involved, though.
Of all the places for us to get into this level of
She
shenanigans.
grabs Nye by the face. You can't even see her move. She's that fast. Just
Whoa,
Up.
Whoa.
up is the direction you will be shutting. Thank you. I'll see you later on tonight. Is anybody else interested in not what she's getting? There's only one of me. If you want twins, try Marco. And she points to the she points to this half elf gentleman, very long dark hair, so middlish build, narrowish shoulders. He's kind of built like a dancer rather than a. So he's lean, but the muscle you can see. Identical twins. Just saying. Anyway, no, I'm apparently booked tonight. So, but did anybody want the pastry option?
Pastries
I had a
Pastries.
feeling.
All
from
right.
the floor still. Pastries.
Try it. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Proseth, did you want one? Oh wait, that would.
If you think thinks about it, yeah, all right. I think we do something. Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can do something. The the desserts are kind of a lunch special kind of deal, and that's just a silver plate. So just pay a meal as you're heading out, and I'll be right back. And off she goes. And you could see Darvin kind of perk up at the identical twins thing.
Yeah, I was like, huh? That's a new experience. He's still kind of
Yeah.
percolating. Like at this point in the back of his head, he's really thinking, I just really could use a freaking massage. My back is killing me.
He could ask.
Oh yeah,
You
I
don't
just
know
haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah. Well, she will come back a few minutes later with the. Yeah, they're basically these sort of shells made of wafer biscuit filled with various different colors of mousse. There's some clearly there's chocolate, there's vanilla, there's something that's sort of a reddish brown that smells a bit like cinnamon and does in fact turn out to be a sort of a cinnamon nutmeggy kind of thing. And there's one much darker red, which is not a color or flavor that you've seen anywhere but that fruit Hazel was carrying around. Okay, so that's chocolate, that's vanilla, that's cinnamon nutmeg, and that's pomegranate apple.
Oh, that's what you
That's-
got.
Reaching into back of folding.
Yeah.
And it's still. You have no idea how to eat one of those, do you?
Nope. I know exactly who I'm asking.
I'll save that for you for later then.
Alice, I do have a question. In terms of people, Is anybody here good with their hands, so to speak? I just really could use a massage. I.
That kind of good with their hands.
Mhm.
I'm guessing happy ending optional, but depends on how the evening goes.
Yeah, basically. There
Okay.
was, we ran afoul of some cockatrice some time back, and I actually ended up getting turned to stone for 24 hours, and I don't know, things. I just, like it wore off ages ago, but
I'm
just ever
I'm
since.
I'm gonna make a guess here. You've been slammed into walls and various
Yeah.
other bits of thing, and while you may not actually be bruised, you've got knots in places that you've never had knots in before, because it takes his hand. Look, that's a performer's calluses, but I can see the spots where adventurer calluses are still forming, so I imagine
Hmm.
you hurt. And she traces on Remy just across the shoulders, right there. Now,
Hmm.
all of us are trained in a certain amount of massage, but if you want an expert, do you have any kind of preferences to? Give me something to work with, because we've got like 3 people.
Um. Um. Lord.
Or maybe I should just name the and point out the people and see which takes your fancy more.
Okay, that might be
Okay.
easier.
Okay. There's Clarice over there. She's built a bit like Remy, but taller. So sturdy, but not Wonder Woman sturdy.
Hmm.
She keeps her hair quite short. Again, it's quite dark. Her skin is a little bit paler than you've come to expect from this sort of vicinity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you see her, she is rather dexterously opening up a bottle of wine at the main bar. Just
Oh.
she's pretty good when some of us have had a particularly rough night. She tends to be there, and again good with the deep tissue stuff. Um, and then there is Fredo over there. This time she points at a different half elf male. He's the skin and the hair actually is reminiscent of Mela.
Hmm.
Um, it's a very, very dark and very curly, puffy kind of hair, although he keeps his quite close uh, cropped. Think a young Idris Elba.
Ooh.
Whoa!
Now, um, he does this thing where he heats up these sort of flat, polished rocks and lets the heat do some of the work as well. So he's got a whole different technique, but after that
Hmm.
you go in for something a bit lighter on the massage end.
Hmm.
And then there's Marta. This one stands out like nobody's business, and even with Alice, and she's Valkyrie built. She wears her hair in this complicated corona of braids. Her clothes, while there are still draped cloth rather than anything particularly tailored, are actually the least diaphanous in the room, and they're
Hmm.
trimmed with beads. Some are in various colors, mostly greens and blues. Some are in gold and brass, in some fairly intricate patterns, in sort of across the sort of shoulder area and down the sash and that kind of thing. And she uh, did some herbalism training in that kind of, and she's from up north. She's got this really interesting mix of the sort of artsy decoration that they have up in Demille and places like that, and the kind of clothes we wear here, as you can see from all the
Hmm.
decorations. what she's got is this selection of oils infused with various bits of plant life, which the the scent sort of helps to, you know, cheer up or relax or give energy and that kind of thing. And she mixes those with a sort of an oil to make it a little less strong, which she then warms up.
Oh,
So you get the nice scented, and on top of the candles we've got in the nightstands and that kind of thing, and a bit more of a production with her. And let me put it to you this way: the other two are a little bit more hit and miss on the happy endings. They're happy to just go with the flow. Marta will want to know one way or the other because it informs what she uses. Because there's some oils that she can use that you don't want getting in places.
well, she's glorious. She's absolutely glorious.
Yeah, if you want, I can invite her over.
Sure. Yes. Oh my. Yes. Yes.
Oh, and your desserts come with, and she sets down coffee.
Ooh, wonderful.
I'll have her bring sugar and other accoutrements.
Thank you.
Be right back, real quick.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh. Oh, actually, it reminds me.
Yeah. And after a brief conversation, Marta comes back and pulls another chair from one of the nearby tables, takes a seat, crosses the leg, and that's showing a terrible lot of very toned leg in general. So I understand that you are made of aches and pains. You're muted.
Quite.
Well, I also understand that Alice has had words about making sure I know what to expect the evening.
Um. Truthfully, if I would be perfectly happy with your glorious company and any help you can do to alleviate just simply the aches and pains. Beyond that, not required.
Okay then. That actually helps. As I understand it, a lot of it is because of being slammed into things and being turned to stone. There are some things I can do with a cinnamon infused oil, which will warm things up a little bit more and unknot some of those muscles that magic sometimes just leaves ever so slightly knotted. And unless you've had greater restoration on you for something like that, there's always a little bit of residual. But we here at the Tipsy Pixie have learned to work our way around just about anything. So, yes, all right. Be aware that given that we're going for the massage and I assume a nice bottle of wine,
Sure.
that will be 4 gold rather than the usual 5 for an evening with one of us. We don't worry too much about the hands because this is still more or less full body endeavor. So we're talking from, and she puts a hand just to the back of his neck there, and then just sort of feels around. And you know that spot just about there that always winds up knotting?
Yes.
And you can feel the strength in those fingers as just she works it and loosens it out a bit. And then stops from there down to the heels.
Oh, bless you. Oh, bless you.
Oh, just wait till the end of the night. You may live to regret that you didn't go for the full service package, but I'll see you later on this evening. And she gets up and walks away.
I may regret it, but I don't know if I could have handled it. She is glorious. Oh, she's glorious. Oh, and I'm just coffee. She's just smelling the. Oh boy, she's glorious, and so is this coffee. But oh boy,
And Nye is probably just like, what have I got myself into?
you're.
Not entirely a new thought for him, but
No, probably not.
Okay, so that's me. That's Remy. That's Hazel. Nye.
uh,
Entirely up to you. I'm just offering the option.
I don't think I could handle. I think I will take a long trance tonight.
That is eminently fair. That is eminently fair. Proseth?
He just gives you this look.
I gotta be fair and ask everyone.
He
Okay.
just doesn't say anything,
Yeah,
but
just the look, yeah.
and it's just sort of, thank you for the offer.
Yeah.
Doesn't. I mean, he stays pretty non-committal, but just.
Yeah.
And let's face it, none of us know what Froseth's preferences are, and he probably doesn't know himself. Although
Exactly.
I imagine from the point of view of just being Dragonborn, he probably
Mhm.
finds the more, the less scaled confusing
Yeah, exactly.
from an anatomical perspective.
Exactly. But at the same time, I had to be fair. So yeah, I guess we finish up.
At which point you get Flitty landing on Nye's shoulder and just sort of going, I think I'm going to stay between you and the Dragon Man tonight. And just sort of leans against his braid. Poof.
Oh, scritch, scritch. Yeah. So I'm going to be little coffee and some of the thing just for the next few minutes until I finish both.
And you never realized how omnipresent that little in your neck was until it went.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that does mean that the other spots that are always a little bit stiff are now thrown into sharper relief.
Yep. I mean, it got so comfy having Flitty there. That's why I actually.
Your sound cut out.
Oh. No, it's okay.
Well, it's not now, but it was briefly.
Oh, sorry. No, that's why I forgot to do the introductions. Flitty just fit there so well. It was like, oh, damn it. Sorry, Flitty.
In any case, so after you've finished your various bits of dessert, coffee, window shopping, as it were, so to speak, I imagine that Valare Leathers is probably the first place that you end up going to.
Given the location of Starlit Sky,
Well,
Starlit Sky.
Yeah, also given, you guys are there, it's only a few blocks away.
Exactly.
So yeah, you enter this room, and the entire place is run by elves. Two are approximately Hazel's age. They're probably siblings, and you can hear a third in the back just going, "He take care of the customers." And they're two young men, sort of brownish hair. Again, you get the sort of not as dark as some you've seen, but still darker than most of you. Skin. Very green eyes. How can we help you?
Hi there. Well, we. We understand. We understand you guys work with some poisons occasionally, and we are. We're working on tracking down a creature that is quite poisonous, and so trying to get information, equipment that might help us deal with it.
How about don't get bit?
That was my first thought.
That's the start.
That was my it was the what was the name of that thing? It was the two-headed.
The memory of the group says, oh, let's face it. First it says Amphisbaena, and what
Thank
you're
you.
not telling them is that we need to collect the venom.
Right. We need to collect the venom from it, and none of us know how to go about doing that. Or at least not from something that
Cut out the venom.
severe.
Cut out the venom glands, or milk the thing.
Wait,
Can you milk it if it's dead?
It's given that I've heard of those. Given the size of it, that might well be advisable. They can.
Just making sure.
The as far as I can remember, the poison glands. They continue creating poison up to an hour after death, as long as they're still attached to the head. So, if it's already bitten one of you, and you've managed to res the poor fucker, you don't really have to worry about it having expended its venom right up until the thing.
It's good to know.
Okay.
But they
So now-
they do manufacture it real fast, particularly when they're fighting. I guess it's something about the hearts are racing, the blood speeds up, and everything goes a
Wait,
little
did you
faster.
see hearts?
Well, yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know it had two of them.
how do you milk a... I'm just staring into the middle distance, a little
Well,
At which
confused.
point- At which point, the other guy, the one with the slightly darker hair, sort of pulls this snake head, which is about the size of the head of your average Saint Bernard. It's clearly been dried. Takes it, pulls it open, and presses at spots just at the spot where the jaws hinge. Right about there, squeeze, and hold something under the fangs.
That's good to know.
Wow.
Of course, doing it while it's alive is going to be tons of fun.
Yeah, we're not gonna try that if we don't have to.
Hadn't planned on it, but now it looks like you were right.
For once. I'm just wondering how you kill something that has two heads, two hearts. I was thinking cut it in half in the middle, but
That's
sounds like
apparently
each
not
half-
going to work.
it sounds like each half might keep going.
Except there's still a gaping hole in it, and blood comes out. Dude, you damage anything enough, and it's gonna fucking die.
We can handle that part.
I'm just worried about what's it's going to bite on the way down.
We'll handle that as it comes to it.
Yeah.
I think I'm sticking to my crossbow.
Oh my god, you guys are noobs.
Well,
Yeah. Little bit.
Oh man, you got through the paperwork process. Noobs
No,
who
no
actually...
paperwork.
You do know there are laws, right?
Hold on.
No, recommendation happened.
Looks at Nye. Looks at Darvin. Looks at Hazel. You got recommended!
Yeah, as weird as that sounds.
It's a long story.
You guys damn well be better be. I hope you are better than you present yourselves because, my god, some of you sound like the most clueless fucking tits.
I'm from the middle of the back country. I'm good at what I do, but that's about all I'm good at.
I suppose at least you got the general idea that if you hit something often enough, it doesn't matter how many heads it has, how many hearts it has, how many anythings it has, if you hit something enough and deprive it of enough of its blood, it's gonna fucking die.
Yes.
That's what happened to the other thing we boffed on until it keeled over.
I don't even want to know.
Huge.
Probably not.
Tentacle face, wings. It was nasty.
Make me a persuasion check.
Everyone?
No, just Hazel.
Okay.
uh, 11.
This guy clearly does not believe you.
I did my best.
I don't care. I've told you what you want to know.
Thank you.
Do not seem overly interested in buying anything. So, I don't know if you manage to get that and there's enough skin intact. Bring it over and we might be able to give you a decent price on it. But, you know, until then, good luck. Try not to die, I guess.
Do you guys have any armor specifically made to resist poison stuff or acid?
Or snakes biting you?
Oh, I think
That's
general
just
armor
armor
covers that.
normally.
Thank you, strange little girl. You! You are giving our race a bad name. Shut up! You! Yes, we do. At least resistant. There's nothing to 100% spare you that. And if this two-headed snake is the two-headed snake that your dragonborn friend is telling you about, it's not gonna help keep the damage from one bit of its head, one of its heads. That way, nothing can. Apart from sheer force of will, or maybe when it's tired of fucking with you. I really have no idea. We don't have much of it, and what we have, we are selling dear. We are looking at 5 platinum for a suit of leather armor with poison resistance.
Nye, Darvin.
You're muted.
Sorry, I sat on it. Mm-mm. I don't think we can sell that.
You're also going muted, Smeagol.
Huh?
Oh,
No?
okay, now you go. There you go. Sorry.
No, I'm just looking at them both like, you're wearing leathers, and this would be useful. What is
Those are
wrong with
expensive.
you?
In Nye in particular, Nye's armor is effectively secondhand.
Hmm.
Get him an upgrade.
I mean,
Do we have?
it's you have party funds, and you had like 50 platinum from that, at least.
Yep.
At last count, 70.
Okay, so yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
you guys are actually doing pretty well.
Okay. 9. we should get you some. More than likely, at the very least. It's just leather armor, so.
All right.
Well, and
I mean, that's 50 gold. So
yeah,
while it's a markup, it's I mean your plain old armor was like 5 gold, and you don't necessarily know what other benefits this particular armor might confer.
right. So
Uh,
we'll get some for you. We'll get you a set now.
All right. Thank you.
if you want to step over here, the younger
Yeah.
of the two actually stands out. We just need to sort of get a look.
Measure.
And more or less, just for straps and buckles and. Actually, I think we have something that matches those boots. Hang on. And
I'm gonna be right.
he goes off to the back and he comes out with the armor's black under normal lights, but when a particularly bright light source hits it, there are sort of veins of an iridescent green in similar patterns to the ones on his boots of Elvenkind.
Hmm.
It
lovely.
actually looks quite good, particularly against his white hair.
Wow.
Huh.
That. Wow. That looks. That looks. Wow. Nice.
And in the back of Nye's head, this time it's the female voice, and it's, I approve. And yeah, you
Wow.
just see him just.
Yeah. I'm like, huh? Okay.
This is probably a good idea.
Okay. The only other question we will definitely get this was, would you have or would you know where we might be able to purchase simply potions to make poison resistance?
That's actually probably going to run you costlier than the armor.
Oh, huh.
Oh.
Okay.
On that note, we need something to put the poison in.
Yeah, glass flasks you can get just about anywhere in the fletchings, but
Mhm.
there's a fairly concentrated sort of divine arcane kind of magic setup in a couple of the alleys near the God's Hall.
Yeah, and we were heading over toward that direction next. So, um, out of character, if I remember correctly, and from what I saw on my sheet, the armor that I've got, it doesn't actually confer any bonuses aside from I can make it look whatever I want.
Yep.
You know what? Make that 2 sets.
Okay, you after something a bit more. You're probably after something a bit more human
Well, yeah.
in its design. Just give me a sec. He goes out and apparently digging through various bits of stock, and what he gets is it's not quite black. It's sort of a dusk sky purple, which in low light would look black.
Mm-hmm.
And over his, the bits of his regular shirt that you can see actually go fairly well with that. And obviously in this heat you don't want to, but the the coat that Xana made him actually looks really good. That indigo color sets off the slightly more the slightly more red tinged purple of what he's wearing.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, this was a good idea. This is nice. This is very nice. Okay, this will work.
So you pay the gentleman 10 platinum, and
Mm-hmm.
you get 2 sets of +1 armor with poison resistance. I never said it was going to be
Damn.
plain armor.
That markup was for good reason. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
that's
appreciate the
extra
color
ace
very
on top
much.
of everything else.
And
It's a
as we're walking out,
little harder wearing than what you guys are wearing right now. So
yeah. And as I'm walking out, I'm like, oh, this color is amazing. I love it. Yeah. Oh man, it's great. Okay. So, um,
you're starting to get towards the mid-late afternoon, and you get the impression that you probably have enough time to stop at those alleyways before you go to the God's Hall for sundown services. But we are at about that time, so we will leave that for 2 weeks'
mhm.
time, and when we deal with buying raw diamonds, getting potion vials, probably Froseth will be happy for the excuse to refill his herbalism kit anyway, which is why it will be good that he's here for that. And then sunset devotions, followed by your trip out to the desert wastes.
To kill a bugbear or
What's a bugbear?
bugbear. What that was? Umber Hulk. I got it confused.
To kill something classically D&D. Let's put it that way, and I'll see
Yep.
you in 2 weeks.